And at this point, I want to welcome Joan D. and her daughter, Rose. Joan and Rose are a mom and daughter who've experienced overdose and have both used Narcan and the balm to help themselves and their family members. And let's see, we'll go, since they're not going to be using the camera, we'll just we'll be back at this view. So I'd like to start with Rose. Rose, are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Rose. Rose, could you talk about your experience with Narcan and the value of it as you see it as someone who has needed it?
I used it on other people. And I used to actually carry it around with me all the time. I haven't been really lately. I haven't really been going anywhere. But I used to carry it around even when I was sober, like when I first got sober. And I ended up using it when I relapsed later on, once on my significant other who actually passed away, but because it was too late, I administered it too late. But I had it, and obviously it was a situation where I did not expect to even need it. I mean, it was just a normal day, I went to work and that was it. So it was just like the importance of having it. It's like you just never know what's going to happen. And I used it on a friend when I was using, and also it was totally unexpected in a way. I mean, obviously I knew what she was doing, but I was in her house and she was upstairs in the bathroom, and I just felt like I had to go towards the stairs, even though there's no reason I had to go towards the stairs. Mm-hmm. So I walked towards the stairs and I hear our other friend saying, "Wake up, wake up, wake up." And I'm like, what? And so I go up the stairs and she's just on the floor in the bathroom, like her lips were turning blue, and she was like kind of gurgling. And so I was like, oh no. And she was not responsive because he had been in there trying to wake her up, and I tried to wake her up. And so I ended up administering the Narcan, and she luckily just started to like wake up a little bit. And I had it because of the bomb, because people were just giving it to me. So I had it in case something happened to me. And actually the same person who was doing that, she had gotten the Narcan in case that I needed it, because she knew she would be around me, and I wasn't there one of the nights, and she was with other people, and they were in the car and they were driving, and they found somebody on these train tracks on the side of the road, like unconscious. And them being in recovery, they realized that the person was overdosing, and they ended up using the Narcan on him.
Wow.
Yeah, and he ended up being revived, and like it was just like, wow, like how would that even happen? It was just very random. Yeah, and I've had it used on me before. Yeah, it's just very important.
Talk about your own personal experience. Any memory you have, or any?
Well, I've overdosed a few times. The one time, like, I had Narcan used on me, because before that, people had gotten to me quick enough. Like, I started to turn blue and stuff, but I had other stuff done. Well, I was like, I didn't even know what was going on, but I had just used, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and all of a sudden I started to like not having to like open my eyes, like I couldn't see. And then next thing I know, I'm on the floor unconscious. I don't know I'm unconscious, obviously. Mm-hmm. And like I wake up to my mom over me, and I'm like, what are you doing? Leave me alone, because I thought I was sleeping somehow. And mm-hmm. She's like, no, I just used Narcan on you. You just overdosed. And she ends up waking me up with the Narcan, obviously. But that was crazy, because I had no idea what even happened. But obviously before, I had felt myself falling, but there's no way I could have known that was happening, so.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us, Rose. And Joan, you've used Narcan with Rose, as she said. What was that like for you as a mom to have to use it on your daughter?
Well, I mean, it's kind of traumatizing, and the whole thing, even leading up to it. Just I want to give you a little background. Is the she had been in long-term recovery and at about 15 months relapsed. And I walked in on that. I got a strange compulsion to go to her apartment in the middle of the night, and there she was. Her boyfriend said, "Oh, she was fine. She'd be okay." And I was all nervous, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do?" And and I thought, okay, I think she's fine. But after that is when I realized, through the encouragement of the balm, is to get Narcan. Like, don't ever be in that situation again without Narcan. And so about 6 months later is when Rose's boyfriend died. She was sober for a long time and walked in on him and didn't know he had relapsed. And so then she relapsed the next day. And as soon as that happened, I again was, making sure I had a lot of Narcan, making sure she had the Narcan, because I knew I couldn't stop her from using. But after listening to like different interviews on the balm, like harm reduction and things like that, and working with a number of balm coaches, my balm coach, a balm coach who ended up being Rose's balm coach, where, I was like a crazy person running around making sure everybody had Narcan. Anybody who's going to be around Rose, and her balm coach was also giving her lots of Narcan. Like, we had it everywhere. And I was even contacting people she was using with, saying, "Please get it, know that I'm here," so that everybody had it. And that's the people that saved the person on the railroad tracks actually was somebody I had talked to and said, "Make sure you have it," so
Right.
really trickles out to a lot of people,
Absolutely. So you keep mentioning the balm. There are people on this call who probably never heard of the balm, never heard of our program. The balm method of family recovery, balm stands for Be a Loving Mirror. Could you share your experience with the balm and how it helped you through the more difficult times with Rose over the years?
Oh, sure. And just real quick to finish the last one is,
Oh, please.
Is that there was like a week, a little bit later, I walked in on her, and that's when she was collapsed. And she was not breathing. She was turning blue. I ended up calling 911 like at the same time I was administering the Narcan. Like, I just put it on speaker and like kind of did it all. And I ended up using 3 Narcan on her. There's different kinds. And so the first kind I had trouble using. There's different ways of administering it. And anyway, so I advocate having a lot of it and know how to use the different kinds on how to. And then now the balm, I keep mentioning it, the 11 Mirror program is absolutely amazing. When Rose got into her recovery, I met my balm coach. I was like a deer in the headlights. I was petrified. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to mess up her recovery. And so I engaged a balm coach and learned everything I could, because I knew I wanted to do everything possible. And it helped me so much by bringing peace, healing my relationship with my higher power, healing my relationship with myself, being able to communicate with my daughter more. We were estranged before she got into recovery. So it helped me really open that up and observe what's going on, so that when there was a relapse situation, I would be able to communicate and really see what was happening, to be able to talk to Rose, talk to her boyfriend, and work with them. I'd be calling my balm coach like right away, because she relapsed, I guess, 3 times. And I'd be in constant contact with my balm coach at that time. I remember texting her at 5:30 in the morning one time going, "Rose relapsed. What do I do? Oh my gosh," and by 7:30 a.m. she had me on the phone with the rehab. I mean, that's how amazing a balm coach is. Just to be there to brainstorm, work on ways to converse, like balm conversations, we call them. And then also there's a lot of interviews on the balm, like this one, one of the interviews was about clean needles, like, do you, talk to your loved one about that? I talked to Rose about that. I'm like, well, does that help encourage them to use? And the answer to me was no. I even called the people afterwards and talked to them, and they said, no, that's just the reality of they're going to use. You want them to use safely. Found the Marchman Act attorney on the balm that you interviewed. He was in Florida, where Rose ended up at one point. And she, we had to use the Marchman Act to get her into recovery, which, and I just want to say I'm so proud of her. She's doing great. It's been a long time. That was a long time ago. But yeah, so many resources in the balm, and a whole community of people, to go through this journey with, because it's a journey,
Yeah, and Joan, years ago when I first heard about these organizations that train people in Narcan, I started to talk to people about what you really need is train people how to use Narcan and make sure every family is put into the balm. Because as Deb shared, and as, I don't know if Barb shared this, but somebody uses Narcan and they could end up just pushed out of the hospital, or, I want to go home. And the family doesn't know what to do with them. What's going to be different? What was different for your family once you got into the balm, and what was different for Rose from your perspective? And we don't have much time, so if you could encapsulate
Yeah,
that.
so what was different is that I found peace. I felt like I was doing everything I could. I had information, knowledge, resources, and a way to open up my communication with my daughter and keep it open. And Rose, what did you think about the balm, real quick?
I think for me, it definitely helped when I was going through a relapse I had, that one that I overdosed with during. I had people from the balm helping me get into treatment, and also just giving me somebody to talk to when I didn't really want to talk to anybody that was sober, because they would just try to push me. But they kind of pushed me, but in a loving way. And with my mom, I think it really helped my relationship with her during recovery and an addiction. Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. Is there anything you guys want others to know that might help them help their loved one using the balm and Narcan together?
Well, I think it's just to do it, to take those steps and do it, so that you're prepared, and so that you can be your best, have your best life, and give them their best chance in recovery.
Thank you, Joan, so much. And thank you, Rose. And Rose, we're just thrilled that you are moving your life forward so powerfully. And it's wonderful to have you both on tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.